right?
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, let's get started a little bit. So welcome everyone to setting goals that matter. As we all know, we have to know what the score is to tell if we've won the game or not. And as they say, we're in the fourth quarter here, and what's the next season going to look like? And as any sports thing, you start right now figuring out what your lineup's going to be at the next season. So yeah, I mean, I love this time of year. I think it's a great time to reflect and to look forward and try to get a jump on things. And the best thing to do is kind of figure out how much money you want to make and how many families you want to help and etc. So I can introduce myself here. My name is Deb Hayes. I'm the productivity coach up here in Keller Williams, Merrimack Valley in Westford, Mass. I don't know where everybody is. If you could put in your name there where your office is and what town or state, that might be helpful. I've been a real estate agent 25 plus years and came to Keller Williams about 8 years ago and started working in the productivity coaching program really about 3 years ago. And it's been an interesting ride, interesting challenge. And right now I have about 45 people in the program with about 30 million in volume. So I'm pretty proud about that. And they work hard, everybody, and do the things they're supposed to do. So my co-host here is Roger King. Roger, tell us a little bit about yourself. Oh, there's Ash.
Yep. Hi, Ashley. So I've been doing it about 15 years, similar to you is in respects to time and as far as productivity coaching. I've been doing that for about 2 years. What I do is I run the launch program down at Market Center 868, and that's where I focus just on the new people, brand new, just like you guys for the most part, coming in. I don't know what to do next. I'm overwhelmed. I'm confused. What do I say to folks? How do I say it? And things of that nature. So we're working a lot of times on the script practicing. And if that's the one thing you master, I always tell people, master your scripts, master your objection handling and understanding of an objection handling. Because what we're trying to do is we're helping folks move forward through the process. And sometimes that's through the cultivation stage where they're not necessarily ready to buy a house yet, but they might be in 6, 8, 9, 12 months. And you're using your scripts and your conversations to stay in touch, stay top of mind with those folks, and move them through the process, as opposed to go get somebody, shake them and go, let's go out and buy a house today, or let's sell your house next week.
Yeah.
And keeping that in mind, it's about follow-up more so than finding somebody who's ready to sell today or buy today. Most people are thinking about it. And that brings us to what we're doing today, is setting our goals, is we're thinking about today what we're going to be doing for next year. So if you think about January 1st is the start of your business, if you're just starting, that's your ramp up. You've got a couple of months to ramp up. What do I need to learn? What tasks do I have to master? And we'll talk more about that stuff later on when we get into the 411 and then obviously the goal setting phase.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you, Roger. That's exactly right on point. That's exactly what we're doing. So Ashley Lucente, why don't you just say real hi? You've been made co-host, right?
Yeah, I'm co-host.
So you can see people coming in. So tell us a little bit about you.
Hey guys, good morning. So I am actually the MCTT Market Center Tech Trainer in Westford. So I work with Deb, and I kind of started off in Keller Williams as more of like a front desk position, but then I evolved into more of the tech role, which I love, and I do a lot of marketing stuff as well. But that's pretty much a little bit about me. So yeah, excited for today's Ignite.
Yeah, that's great. Great. Thank you for popping on. I know it was sort of last minute. Somebody else moved around, but we love having you on, and I certainly love working with you. Hope everybody has a cross to bear. She has to work with me, but we do okay, right? So, all right, let's see. What do we got going here? So does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask or anything before we move forward? Or I guess, does anybody have anything to share? What are they grateful for? What have they learned in this first week? Who wants to give us some thoughts?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Connie.
How are you? I'm
Awesome.
not a new agent. I've been doing real estate now for quite a while. I do like to jump into these Ignite classes. It just, re-energizes, it's always nice to hear what other people are saying. Really appreciate you folks donating your time to help us be better at what we do. The little tips and techniques, everybody has their own little way of doing it. So we're learning a lot.
Awesome. Awesome. And I love that you're really an experienced agent and you jump on. I mean, this is a never ending learning curve, right? In real estate,
Right.
there's always something new. There's always some new technology. There's always some new style that you'll pick up from these classes. When I came to Keller Williams, I had been in real estate over 20, long time. And first thing I did was pop into some of the Ignites. I liked it. And that's why I came here. I wanted to keep fresh, really know what was going on. So today we're going to focus on how to cultivate your leads. We're going to talk about setting goals that matter. So let me get over to the program. We'll do a little screen share.
Connie brought up a great subject too. Think of Ignite as this is your first run through it. Definitely take it again. Pop in, to other Ignites moving down the road, because you never master it in the first shot, and you won't absorb all the material in the first shot as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is my second Ignite.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3-4 times. I mean, it's, and you don't have to watch the whole from start to finish after you've gone through it once or twice. You might just drop in on a few sessions, because you do. Connie mentioned it. You learn little nuggets from different coaches who have different ideas and styles, different folks who
Little
have tried
tools
different
to put
things.
in your box.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's just a phrase that you pick up on an Ignite, some sort of piece of a script that somebody else might use.
Absolutely. And as we say in every class, this is a two-way conversation. This is a participating class. And the more we engage, if you have a question, pop in on the chat or let us know, raise your hand. And because if you have a question, it's likely somebody else does. Can everybody see my Ignite screen here with what you guys? All right. So anyway, so we have this that we go through every day. The secret of being a successful real estate agent, there's really no secret. We all know that, but success does leave clues. So we know exactly what successful agents do every day. Everyday agents do two types of activities. They grow their business and they run their business. We used to have a little video with Gary Keller, and I always remember he always said it very straight. You work on your business, getting new business before you work on the day-to-day business. And it's a mental exercise that you have to do every day. You have to make sure you're building your business, because you plateau at a certain time level, you're getting your referrals, but you constantly have to work on your business. And that's, that's what we'll never stop talking about that. So get used to that statement, right? Each activity on the slide, it's not obvious, but why it's lead generating for buyers and sellers. Make seller listing presentations and getting listings. Make buyer presentation, get listings. Preview real estate, run your businesses, market seller listings, show buyer houses, negotiate contracts, transaction management, vendor management, setting your goals, and so forth. So that's where, we want to make sure we're always focused. So what we're going to focus on today is really every day we had lead generate for buyers and sellers. Just by being here today, you're getting training and coaching. So, good for you. And we all know whatever you do today is going to show up in 90 days, right? So the fact that you're in Ignite and you're learning, you should go forward 90 days and put a little $sign on your calendar, because typically if you don't do anything, you might as well not put a $sign on that calendar. So we're going to learn how to set some goals, and I think that's going to be pretty awesome. So we're going to talk about envisioning your big life. What does everybody think about a big life? Has anybody ever heard that term?
So I've heard about the big why. That's a consistent thing in the Keller Williams culture. Why are you doing this? What's your purpose in life?
Yeah. we're always trying to think of, yeah, we all want to go to work and make money and pay our bills and all of that. But what really is our big vision? Let's think bigger. You know, you think bigger, you get bigger. Yes, we want to pay the car payment, the mortgage payment and so forth, and Christmas is coming and all of that. But let's start to get in the mindset of thinking bigger. It helps you sort of focus in a little bit more, you know, so that, you know, when you're setting goals, there's a reason for it. You know, what do I want to do? You know, and then, you know, guess what? How are we going to get there? And how motivated are you? And this will, you know, so let's understand the goals. Oops. So who we are and where we want, hold on, the wrong screen. Who we are and where we want to go, determine what we do and what we accomplish. Who has heard of the one thing? Anybody ever read the one thing? Show of hands.
Heard of it. I haven't read it.
Oh my gosh, you've got to read the one thing. It's a nice little book, little reference book, nothing too heavy. It's kind of, so the one thing obviously was written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan about how to structure your life and to achieve your goals. So we're going to talk about a few of those principles from the one thing today, but definitely check the book out yourself. Usually in the market center, somebody has one. So take a little spin around your market center and see if you can find one. So who wants to read the quote on the slide? Come on, class participation.
Who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish.
All right. Think about this quote. Why is it important to set goals?
Helps to give us direction. Keep
What
us
else?
on track.
Yeah.
I do a vision board for the things that I want to achieve in my future. And I keep it visually where I can see it every day.
Okay. So it gives you some direction. Anybody else?
I've often heard the term, if you can see it, you can realize it.
I like that. Absolutely.
I like that too.
Yeah. And if you don't know, it's sort of like I keep going back a little bit to the sports analogy. If you don't know what the score is, how do you know if you're winning?
Right.
You know, and how do you know if you need to do an adjustment, you know, switch out a player or, you know, whatever they do, coaches, you know, they look at the score, they look at the play and they figure out what's working, what's not working, and they focus in on it because everybody knows the goal and what we're going to win. So, you know, it's important to set goals because the opposite of this quote is also true. What you do and what you accomplish determines who you are and where you go. If your activities don't have a guiding goal, you're likely to be very, very busy and not have a lot to show for it. As we all know, Keller Williams is into, you know, building careers worth having, businesses worth owning, and lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. Now, none of those things just happen, as we know. If anybody ever had a goal, has anybody had a goal that they didn't know how they were going to get there and they knew they were going to get there? Anybody do that ever?
Yes.
Shelley, tell us a quick thing about that.
Okay, am I unmuted? Yes. Okay. Yes, actually, the first time I went to college many years ago, it was a last minute thing. A friend called about a brand new program in this Commonwealth. I went over and registered and entrance things and whatnot. And I did not know how I was going to pay for it until, I don't know, maybe 6-8 weeks into the semester. And someone said, well, what are you going to do if you can't get, you know, loan funding and whatever? I said, what's the worst they're going to do? They're going to tell me to leave. So I always say, not literally, but sometimes you jump off a diving board in life when you don't know if there's any water in the pool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was one of those cases. I just went ahead and did it.
Just went
And it worked out fine.
Yeah, absolutely. But because you wanted to do it and you believed that you were going to do it.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, there's certainly something to be said for that. So let's, well, thank you for that, Shelley. So let's talk a little bit about think, act, and achieve. Everybody see my graph over here?
Yep.
Okay, so look at the graph. What do you see in this about goals and meeting goals. What do you see here? If, got thinking, we've got time and effort. Small outcomes, big outcomes. This is from page 88 of the one thing, if you have it kicking around. So we have time here, thinking is here, time and effort. So if you have little actions, bring you small outcomes. Big actions create big outcomes. What does everybody think about that?
So if I was to apply that to a goal I set, I would suspect that if I set a goal that I thought was real achievable and then stretch myself, well, I'm going to probably hit my goal, or I might come a little under it, because that's traditionally what we might do. But if I stretch myself a little bit and go for a little higher goal, maybe I don't think I can get there, but that's okay. I'm going to strive for it. I'm going to, and I'm likely going to do better than I thought I could.
Highly, I don't know what the facts and data is, but anybody who has a goal that's higher than they want to typically get higher than they may not always make it, but they always get higher. Anita, you have a question.
No, I wanted to share, growing up, my mom always used to say, aim higher percentage, like 90 though. So at least I get 85, 88. So I always remember that aim high.
Aim high, aim high. That's right. You don't get big outcomes by thinking small. When we talk about thinking here, we're talking about thinking big when setting goals and thinking how big on how to reach and thinking big on how to reach these goals. So you have to ask, what are you going to do? What are you doing now? How are you going to do it to get to these goals? Who are you going to do it with? These answers are your answers, Do you have another question, Anita, or just still have your hand up? I know, how do you, yeah. Okay, cool. Shelley.
I just wanted to say I met a senior citizen in recent years, and she was a former music teacher from Austria. And she used to tell her students, the viewer is nicer from the top of the hill, the higher you climb. And I like that.
That's true. We all know that one. All right, so let's talk a little bit about thinking, acting. Here, how big is your box? The question, how big is your box? If you're not thinking big, you're creating an artificial ceiling of achievement. There's only so many hours in the day, and there's only so much one person can do. I've certainly had that experience of thinking too small and thinking, oh, this isn't going to work, and I'll just get this and I'll be okay. And then I had the experience of being pushed to do more. And I just had to become comfortable with if I didn't make it, but absolutely, positively, clearly, I got I got to a higher level than I thought I was going to. So, everybody can do it. So what, how, and who, what do we do? How are we going to do it? And who's going to help us? Many agents, limit themselves right away, right from the beginning. And I hear it all the time. Oh, I only can work with buyers. I'm new. Once you've been here for a week, you're not new anymore, right? I think people hold themselves down a little bit. I don't want to call anybody, and I don't want to bug anybody. And that really isn't going to work. I'll tell you that right now. You've got to find your way. They don't call their sphere, and they just hope someday they're going to call them. It's not really your sphere's job to call you. It's your job to call them, touch base, and offer some bit of value. I don't know anybody in the whole wide world that doesn't want to hear about real estate. It's extremely important to people, particularly right now. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of their life, of their world. So don't ever make the mistake that people don't want to talk to you about real estate. You can talk to a 9-year-old about real estate. It's very pertinent to everything. And if you're not doing that, you are doing yourself a little disservice. And the reason why we like that, calling our sphere, is because, it doesn't cost anything. You're already paying for your phone, so you might as well do that. I know some people don't like that. And, my generation doesn't like to make calls, but at some time you have to connect with them. Even if you text them and say, hey, got 5 minutes for a quick business call. Absolutely, everybody will go, sure, yeah, what's up? And then you do your thing. Learning scripts, like Roger said, why do we need to know scripts? What are scripts really all about? Anybody really know the core reason we have scripts and we know them and learn them?
Being prepared with what to say, so you're not thinking about it when you're talking to the person.
Correct. And what does that do for you when you are prepared of what you're going to say?
And well, two things. One, it helps you focus more on the person, but the other is it helps, it gives you ready answers for them for what their concern is.
Exactly. Thank you, Mike. That's exactly what it is. You remain focused on the topic, and what it really does, and you said it in a different words, it helps you listen at a higher level. And real estate is all about listening. You don't blah, 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 blah isn't necessarily better than blah, blah. Ever hear that one? You don't have to go on and on. You simply ask a question and then you listen. And it's another thing that's kind of a muscle thing. You have to kind of learn how to do that. So, and the other thing too, and this is why we talk about goals and why we drill this all into your head, is because this is what a business does. You guys are running your business. Roger King Real Estate Company International, right? You're running a business, and business people run their businesses like a business, and if you treat your day in your calendar like a business, it'll be a business. If you just, so you want to just make sure you do that. And again, this is something that you're going to, the more focused you are and the more purposeful you are with your goals, you will not burn out because you're not seeing any results. We have to make that connection between activities and business. Activities that you're doing is the direct result is business in your hand. Things that you're doing over here will turn into a buyer lead, a seller lead, a nurture, just somebody they may not sell for 3 years. But as we know, 3 years can fly by. So let's keep moving along here. So let's talk about doing a big life. All right. So this is a little exercise. I don't know if you guys have your little participant guide printed out. This is something that you might want to look at. So this is just an example of somebody envisioning a big life. So you're going to do this activity that will help you envision your big life. Once you have that vision in place, then you can set some meaningful goals that will make sense for you. And once you have your goals, we can talk about how to reach them. It all really begins on what you want. It's not what I want. It's not what Roger wants. It's what you want. This is your business. So if you do have your participant guide, it's page 3, or you can just take a piece of paper and make a little circle and put these, 5 things around. 1, 2, yeah. And so you put your circle in the middle, and you want to kind of figure out how much money you want to make. And then you want to have some things on each little rectangle that says what you want to do. Write a person or a cause that you care about. What are some things other than paying your rent and your mortgage and so forth that you want money for? Anybody want to just share a couple of things that they might want to do? This person has getting through school debt-free, donating to some Pets Alive, somebody, paying off your mortgage. Why don't you guys take a few minutes and put 5 things down that would really be impactful to you and your family? Anybody have 1 or 2 they might want to share? A big thing that you want to get to the end of. Remember, there's no right or wrong thing. It's your thing.
Or just to
Anybody?
give
Well, I want to buy my first house.
I love it. Love, love, love it.
So the question you'd ask there is, how much do I need for my down payment
Correct.
to get into that first house? And that would be one of the rectangles. Buy my
Perfect.
first house, need $72,000 for down payment.
Wow, that's
Just to
a
give some more
balance.
instruction around this, you're filling in the
thank you.
squares first, and then you're going to add those squares up around it, and that's going to be the center number.
Thank you, Raj.
So,
Everybody clear on the exercise? Pay off your mortgage,
yeah.
kids' school, buy a motorhome. Go ahead, Raj.
Yep, save money for, put your kids through college, meaning maybe I need 250 grand in the next 18 years. So you'd break that down into an annual number and say, all right, I need this amount to save every year. And that could be one of the squares, you know, $10,000 a year for the next 18 years.
Yeah. Anybody have to care for a parent
Yep.
or, you know, and it's not always about, it's doing fun things too.
Yep.
Maybe you want to
could
go to
be-
Hawaii.
Yep. Family vacations once a year, you know, I
Right,
want to spend $10,000 on family vacations and I want to bring the kids with us or not. You don't have to bring the kids.
right. So who said they want to buy a new house? I can't see everybody on the screen. Hey, Alexander, cool. When you gonna buy your new house?
Well, I thought it was going to be a year ago, but right now, I know this doesn't ooze confidence, but I'm kind of like up and down right now with this new career. So a timeline for me, I would like it to happen within the next 3 years. That
Okay,
might be a little bit modest. I mean, obviously I'd like to happen sooner, but
well, let's make it happen sooner. What do you have
Like
to
it.
do? How much money do you need? What's your down payment? So you probably need a little steady income, you know? some
yeah,
things.
that's the first step.
That's okay. We're gonna get you there. Where do you live, Alexander?
So right now I live with my brother and my sister-in-law in Greenland,
And where?
New Hampshire.
Oh, geez. Okay. That's cool. You'll get there.
Yep.
Who else has some big things? Let's hear a couple more.
If you want, you guys can type them into the chat.
Absolutely.
Ashley can read them out loud for us.
All right.
Yeah, I see a couple in there. I see Robbie says he wants a boat and Anita wants to open a soup kitchen.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome, Anita.
So ask one more question. A boat, we can't cumulate, you know, so what would you need to get that boat? You know, what
Right.
amount of funds would you need to buy that boat? Or what amount of funds would you need to buy that soup kitchen or open that soup kitchen?
Yeah. Everybody's coming in here, generate 4 or 5 streams of income. That was what I was going to ask Alexander. If you're going to buy one house, when are you going to buy your second one? Meaning your investment property.
Hopefully not too long after.
New hybrid. I want one of those. Lake house.
Alexander might consider making that one of his first properties.
Absolutely.
Buy the 3-family, live in the first floor, second or third floor first, or a 2-family, and start there. And then in 3 to 5 years,
Oh,
then
love
you go out and buy your home with some
Yeah,
of the equity.
that's a great angle that I've considered.
yeah.
It's got to be the
So-
right one.
That's how a lot of people, right? That's how a lot of people start. Well, remember that
How I
3-family,
started.
yeah, the numbers have to work for you, but you don't have to be in love with it because
Right.
it's not your forever home. It's an investment property.
That's a good point. My first house, yeah, it was a 2-family and it was rough. But I'm telling you, I look at that house very fondly. I still own it and it has served me well. So yeah, it was not so pretty. But you know, you don't need so pretty when you're just starting out.
Alexander, what other items are on your squares? Let's
Yeah.
finish off with
Let's pick on
Alexander.
Alexander.
Yeah, what other
Well-
squares there? Go ahead.
I'm sitting here. I don't have a very big piece of paper. I'm trying to make it work.
That's all right.
And
We'll
I'm
do-
trying to think of some other squares.
How old
I
are you,
mean-
Alexander?
I'm 23, soon
Okay.
to be 24.
Okay.
Perfect.
So in your case, you know, you have a vehicle, remember, these are your dreams, and then dreams will become
Big.
goals when you set a plan to get there,
Right.
you know? So
Um,
that's the whole premise of this. It's to dream outside that box, to find out what that middle number would look like to
Well,
achieve what you
how
want.
about this? I've always dreamed of taking a 3-month road trip across the country.
How much
Do
would
it.
that cost you?
That I'm not
No clue.
positive. I haven't done the numbers too much in my head, but
All right, so
But,
what
I mean-
what would you travel in? Would you need a vehicle?
right, exactly.
So what would that vehicle cost? Would you be getting a camper?
Something a little more modest. A camper doesn't have to be it. That might be for retirement. But I don't mind something a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
I would probably say, but my family owns an auto body shop and they're always buying and selling cars. And my dad comes across these little campers, little RVs all the time. And
Yeah.
Depending on the condition, you can get them for 5 to 15 grand.
Okay.
Put
So
that in there.
there's your number, 15 grand.
I'm thinking he might need to have 3 months of not pay,
Yeah.
pay aside for himself to pay
Yeah,
his
yeah.
bills.
You
We
got
have a
it.
couple- We have a couple of other questions. Andy, you had a question while Alexander's doing his math over there. What do you got?
Yeah,
Andy?
I want to share my big, big life kind of thing. I would call it huge, not even big.
Uh-oh.
It's gonna be a huge, because I'm already 60 and I have a house, not the first one. It's not the first house. I still have about $200,000 mortgage on it.
Yeah,
So my huge thing would be pay that off before I retire.
all right, I like it. Go
It's
ahead,
probably
Raj.
about, I don't know, I'd say 7 years. So it's a huge thing. That's a lot of houses to sell
Yep. Well,
Yep.
that's,
to pay off that mortgage.
Yeah, so what's that number look like?
Well, like I said, it's still about 200,000 to pay.
So
Yep.
200,000 over the next how many years?
I don't know. I'm 60, so 7, 8, whatever. I might do
Alright,
it
divide
even
that.
longer.
So
I'm
take
not
your
doing-
take your 200,000 and divide it by 7.
Yeah.
That would be your yearly goal to get you to that bigger goal.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that would be one of your rectangles, that yearly goal.
Yeah.
This is
So-
a yearly.
yeah,
then
everybody
you just-
plug in everything, even if it's small. One of them could simply be little, but let's go big. Anita, you had a question also.
I wanted to share. My husband lost a job last year. We bought a house right before that. So I want to help for the mortgage payment and I plan a little for retirement. So we are already 55, 60. And then soup kitchen is the bigger goal, but I want to package small food and that's how much we can do it.
That's
So
nice.
how do I decide how much right now that the center number?
I don't know. Well, you have all the things that you want to do and you add them all up and we put it in the center.
Okay.
So all the boxes around that center are going to add up. And some people can have more boxes, or you might
Yeah.
only have 3 filled in. That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're
Thank
going to accumulate all the boxes around the outside, and that's going to be the big number. So if all your boxes said $10,000 and there's 5 boxes, your big number in the middle is going to be 50,000.
50. Okay. Thank
And
you.
this is based on an annual number, but you can get to your annual number by having a huge goal that I want to make $1 million in the next 10 years. Well, then that number would be $100,000 a year to get to that million in 10 years.
Exactly. And remember, our big life requires time as well as money. Remember, you're business owners, so you need to budget in time as well. And that's another side note. But yeah, any other questions? Everybody feeling good about their number, their big why, their big number, their big life?
Who wants to share their center number now?
Yeah, let's have some center numbers.
Type it into the chat or just say it out loud.
New car, new race car.
Nice.
Okay.
Love that one.
A lot of cars, a lot of, so who's got a middle goal? Anybody? Yeah, what do you got, Alexander?
I think I wrapped up mine. So my 5 things are: I want a house.
Yeah,
I did 30,000 for that.
Down payment.
A small RV. I did 15,000 for that.
Nice.
yeah,
The road trip I want to go on it as stress-free as possible. So I want to have a big budget. I did $30,000 for that.
Okay. And then does that budget include your expenses for living, for paying your rent or your mortgage while you're gone?
Yeah, for 3
Okay.
months.
Okay.
And then possibly get a property up north.
So let's stop him right there, Deb.
yeah,
Drop the possiblies, drop
Yeah.
all those things and say, I am going to do this. remember, it's a goal and you're going to strive for it.
Exercise.
Yeah,
Goal.
so just drop that language and your mind will actually likely put you in a better track to get there, as opposed to if I say possibly, well, then my mind's going to believe it's suggesting that it might not be possible. So
Yeah,
eliminate that limiting
those
belief
safety
conversation.
words are,
Yep,
Yeah,
are
safety
we all do
vital.
that.
And the
Um,
other thing, just one more thing, on his multi that he's gonna live in, hopefully the other 2 units pays his mortgage.
Right.
So
That's
that
also
could be
true.
if you can really work that, or certainly reduce what your mortgage would be. So with these interest rates now,
And that could be him.
Crazy.
Yeah, you could be reverse engineering, looking for the right property that the numbers work to do that is a goal as well.
Yeah, okay, go
Yeah.
on. What else?
I got, if we're breaking it up by year, I did $10,000 a year to save for a property up north. And then just to live comfortably every year, I would like to be making at least $100,000.
Nice.
So my center number is $185,000.
Nice. Awesome.
Nice. Let's do it. Make it happen. All right, so that's perfect. And anybody else just want to throw in their big number? I'm not seeing any in the middle here. 400K, 200, 500. All right, we're getting there. Oop, another one. What's this one? 200. Okay, great. Well, I love it, and these are the kind of things that, and you're lucky, Alexander, you're young and you're given the opportunity to understand this kind of stuff. Don't wait till you're older and that start going, oh man, I got to think about goals. This is something I really appreciate with a lot of the younger people coming into the business. They are so treating it like a business. And
So
it's
keep in
exciting.
mind, guys, too, when we move forward, we're going to get to the goal setting phase.
Yeah.
This is the number you guys want to plug in.
Yeah.
We're going to have an example for you. It's going to be, I think it starts with 100,000. But if
Yeah.
your number is 185, if your number is 200,000, if your number is 500, that's the number you're going to plug in, and you'll just follow the math down to get to that goal.
Right. And so now we're going to understand your goal. And now we got some of the bad news. Where does all the money go that you make?
It goes into our pocket, Deb.
Yeah, all of it, every
every
penny
dime.
of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, hi, it
Who
doesn't.
are our partners out there in business?
Right. So the first thing you need to understand really is how the commissions work. This is all about real estate commissions, right? We've got some great goals, 180, 200, 500. So this whole thing is going to tell you how much you need to do to make your money, right? So the first thing you need to do is really understand how commissions work. And, a lot of new agents get to the closing and they go, what? So we want to make sure that you really understand how it all goes. So first of all, I don't know if you can see the line here, but first thing we need to understand is in a transaction, when you see there's a selling side of the house and the people who buy the house. First thing that happens is it gets cut right in half. The seller is on one side of the transaction and the buyer is on the other side. We all kind of know that, right? Sometimes you get lucky and you get both sides. Okay, now, once you have your first half, about a third of it, right? 30% goes to the market center. We're all aware of our cost of sale. We'll get understanding the difference between expenses and cost of sale. 30% is a cost of sale. This is something you pay because you sold a house. Expenses you pay whether you sell something or not. So, we'll get into more of that, but start to understand the difference between those two things. So third of it goes to the market center to cover your company dollar and keep the lights on and so forth, right? Then what? Finally, you get your share, right? Guess your take home. Guess who else gets some money?
Well, we didn't mention the Keller Williams royalty of 6%.
Oh, yeah, the 6%. Yeah. So 36% goes to, and then of course we have capping, and we're not going to do that math right now, I don't think, in terms of your big goal. But obviously when you get up into making some money, you're probably going to be capping sooner and all that good stuff. So what else do you have to, who else gets a piece of your money?
Well, if you're in the coaching program, you might be paying a coaching fee.
Yeah. What else doesn't go away ever?
Uncle Sam.
Pardon me?
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam. Gotta
Great
pay some
Uncle Sam.
taxes, right? Don't forget that guy. So remember, you have to be very careful and understand. You have to put money away for your taxes religiously. I don't know if you guys have had your business planning clinic yet for 2022. The old get your your business checking account going, run everything through that. Make sure you put money away for taxes because that'll sneak up on you. I know it's hard. You don't have any money and all of a sudden you get a closing, but be really diligent about it and start right now. Make sure you get that money put away for taxes. So thoughts on that? Anybody have any thoughts on that piece right there?
So Deb, I'd just like to back up for a second.
Okay.
So the big number that comes into the market center is what we refer to as the GCI, gross commission income. And from that, that's the check that you get from the co-broke to you, which goes to the market center. And then what we're talking about, if that number is 10,000, 30% of that's going to go to the market center, 6% of that's going to go to the royalty, and then you're going to pull out around 30% and set it aside in a savings account for your taxes as well. And then obviously all your operating expenses are going to come out of that. And if you're paying a coaching fee. So think of that 10 grand. That's not all your money. And then when you cut that thing down by the 36%, even that's not all your money. You're still going to pay your taxes and you get your operating expenses going. So what's that number that you actually get out of that 10,000 is more like 40% of that 10,000.
Right. So this is the not so fun part, but it's something you really have to understand and make sure you're conscious of it. Right, Roger?
Yeah. This is running a business.
Life. Yep.
And if you think about your household, what are you doing when you run a household? And most people bury their heads in the sand and they just go to work, come home, spend money, go to work, come home. And at the end of the week or the end of the month, they're writing their checkbook. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, they can't write the last couple of checks because they spent all their money.
Yeah.
And then they go running off to work. They start using credit cards and get themselves into trouble.
Yeah. And we won't get into the whole thing, but obviously you want to have some sort of a system, whether it's QuickBooks or some sort of profit and loss, in the MREA and thing, you can find a profit and loss if you've never used one. Absolutely, positively get used to using them. And your accountant will be very happy that you did, and be meticulous about everything you spend on expenses, every dinner, every lunch, every postage stamp. They add up and you want them as write-offs,
Keep track of your mileage in your vehicle.
Mileage.
Write-off for you.
All right, so here we go. Let's figure out how we're going to work this. So this example has been, just as an example for your average sale price. And this is the math. So Roger's much better than I am at this piece. So our objective in this activity is to get real about tying your business to your goals. We're going to figure out, based on how much money you'll receive from a transaction, how many transactions do you need to get you to 185 grand, right? So
Yep.
Average sale price is 300, average commission is 9.
So for those of you wondering what your average sale price might be, you're just going to go to your MLS, do a report on solds for the past 6 months. Because you have no history, you're just going to use that number. So in this example, somebody went back and their average sale price was 300,000. Now down below is 9,000 is their average commission. They're using a 3%. I wish they would have put that in here. That's a 3% of that 300,000.
The co-broke.
Yep. So your GCI is going to be $9,000 based on that sale price.
Right. I don't know, I think a 300 is a good way to look at it in New England. I mean, we have 400. I believe Massachusetts supposedly is 500,000 for average, but
yeah, of course, depending on where you live, Western Mass is going to be much lower.
oh yeah, for sure. So
Closer towards Boston is going to be that 500. Yep.
yeah, just, most market centers have it somewhere what their average, their average is. So let's make sure we understand that piece so we can do some math. So here's where we go through this. So we started off, so it's 300,000 average sale price, average commission at 3% is 9. So we have market center company dollar in the franchise royalty, 6%. Does everybody know what their cap number is in their office?
So in this example, it's 27,000.
Yeah,
My office is 21,000. So
Yeah.
you'd find that from your team leader, your OP, or any experienced agent in there. They'd be able to
Yeah.
tell you if you didn't know it. But we're going to use that 27,000 for our example.
right,
Our
so
office is 20,000.
20, nice.
Is 20, nice, yeah.
Yeah, we're 28.
So keep in mind, so that GCI times percent for my example in my office is 30%. And it's
Yeah.
probably similar to everybody's. And then at $21,000 in my office, and in this example of 27, you stop paying. That's what we call the capping. You stop paying the market center.
Yeah.
And you
When you hit
stop
that.
paying the 6% for the royalty. So
Right.
100% of the dollars coming after that, after you achieve that 27 plus the 3,000 for the royalty. And in this example, it's 30,000. After you do $30,000 into the market center, you keep everything.
Right,
But
So
keep in
if-
mind, still gonna pay your taxes.
yeah, they don't factor that in here. So
Yeah.
we've got our net income goal is 100,000. That's what we want to make 100. Now, for some of you, you have to double all these because I saw some 200s and 500s. So whatever your math is, do your math. For simple, they do it here for 100,000. So you've got a net income goal. You want to make 100 grand. You want to walk around, tell everybody you make $100,000. Okay. So if you,
So Deb, real quickly, so
Yep.
for you guys, your numbers coming off of that exercise we did earlier, that bullseye number that was in the middle. So
Yep.
I think it was Alexander's, his was 185.
mhm.
Alexander, you'd put 185 in that top
Yeah.
number where we've got 100.
So, yeah, so follow this example, but use your own cap numbers. So if it's 185 or 200, you put that in there. And then put in your own company dollar and royalty. Add that in. And they have here business expenses of 50,000. What do you think about that number, Roger?
So obviously, the lower your number up above and or the higher the number up above, that number is going to fluctuate with that big GCI number because you're
Yeah.
obviously doing more marketing, having more expenses, the higher the number. So in this case, they're using the 50,000, so if your number's around the 100,000, you could use the 50,000. You may not spend 50,000 in your first year. Of
Yeah.
course, if you don't achieve that $100,000 number, you're likely not going to because the activities are going to reflect that.
Yeah. So be very, very purposeful of what you spend money on. We're really, you've got things that are expenses that you can't avoid. You're going to have office expenses, something per month you have to pay. And the big ones, MLS dues and your realtor dues. I don't know if you guys are all realtors, but that's a big chunk of money. That's $600, that can be half. So just be really smart. Obviously, you want to spend money to make money, but just be really, really careful with it. So you're not just throwing money at things and driving down 495 and throwing money out the window. You want to make sure that what you're spending your money on is really effective. So we've got your net goal, adding your company dollar, adding your expenses. So in the exercise, this individual has to make $180,000 to net out 100.
So he has to do a GCI, gross commission income.
Right. So he's
180.
simply going 180. I have to make 180. So I divide that by my gross of 9,000 per unit. And this person has to sell 20 houses a year. How does that sound? Manageable? And depending
Just
on
make
your,
sure that when you're doing these, that you also keep into account what you may owe on teams or anything like that.
absolutely.
Because I noticed
yeah.
yesterday I went over one-on-one with a coach about this and they thought my numbers seemed super low. Well, when they ran the numbers, they had the same numbers that I was going for my total things to do, but their own numbers were severely inaccurate because of teams and all that. Like you still have to factor in all the rest of your expenses, which you may put into your expense column there,
Yep.
but just make sure that you're counting everything there.
Absolutely. On a team, you've got a bigger cost of sale. And you have a low, so you have to watch those numbers. absolutely. Thank you,
And like
Nathan.
you said, realtor fees and monthly KW fees and all that.
Right, right. Good. So yeah, we have to be aware. You're running a business here. It's your hardware store. You're not the person working at the cash register. You're not stocking shelves. You own this thing. So let's make sure we know our numbers, right? Any questions on that exercise?
Anybody want to share their numbers with us?
Yeah, let's have
Put it-
some
Ken,
numbers.
Put it in the chat or just say it out loud. Alexander, what's your big number down there? How many houses do you have to sell?
So according to my math, I changed the numbers up a little bit slightly in some places. But I would have to sell 25 and a quarter houses.
That's
So
good.
you can't
So
sell a
two a
quarter
month.
house, right?
Right. So let's say 26 houses.
Yeah.
Attaboy. There
So,
go.
you know, 2 a month, that's very manageable. Very manageable.
Yeah, that's a great way to break it down. That
Yeah.
sounds a lot better.
Yeah. So if you need to do 26, what are you doing today to get something to close in January? You know, that's the point of this and doing it now. You know, so we
Right.
have 29, 18, 25. And somebody wrote, I thought the 30% had changed to 20. So that's Rick had asked that question. Different market centers are changing their cap thing, and I don't know who and whatever, but be careful, you know, we're using this as a 30%. So you guys check with your market center, your MCA or somebody there. I love it. 29. Sarah's gonna do 29. So any thoughts on this?
So Deb, I'll pose a question out there too. So now that you have this number, what are you going to do with it, right?
Yeah,
So now the next question you're asking, okay, what are the things that I have to be doing to get to that number? What activities do I have to be doing
right.
to get there? So that's basically the big solve. This exercise is going to get us to that
Yeah.
point, and that's when we'll talk about the 411.
And we have accurate, somewhat accurate numbers here. But these aren't made up numbers. These are numbers that you have for yourself, for your particular market center. And of course, we want to set your goals in command. You know, I don't know, now that you guys have this, after class or on break, pop in and go to the set your goals section and you just plug it in. That way, every time you open command, you're on your home screen, you can see where you are towards your goals. And that's a fantastic reminder to get things done. So what are we going to do for activities? We're gonna do it. What are we going to do?
We're gonna lead gen.
And all right, I love
What-
lead genning.
then
Anybody
what-
ever heard of it? All right, I'm sorry. What else do you have? Lead gen, who else?
Take that question more granular. What kind of lead gen?
Yeah,
Where are you going to lead gen? When are you going to lead gen?
Pick up the phone and call people.
Yeah. Volunteer to do open houses for other agents who have listings.
yeah.
What
And
else? What else would we do for lead gen?
For someone my age, social media, posting on social media, all forms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, even.
yeah,
It was funny when I first went through my numbers. My team lead up in Portsmouth told me to go into my phone contacts, like
Yeah.
physical phone numbers I had. I only had 260 something people in my contacts. And he was
Cool.
like, and I thought it was a lot, but he told me that it needs to be much more than that. And then I got to thinking about when was the last time I asked someone for their actual number? And it might sound silly, but people my age, we ask each other for our Snapchats, our Instagrams. Hey, can I follow you on Twitter? Stuff like that. So I think that's something that I'm gonna try and really execute on is my connections on social media.
absolutely.
I said the same thing when I only had 40 people in my contacts.
So
Right?
Take that.
I know.
Take that. So guys, take that one step further in your Snapchats, Twitters, and Facebook accounts. How can you talk directly one-on-one with those people within those mediums?
Right,
Instant message, right? Direct message. Go, so to speak, take it out of that and directly communicate with those folks. But before you do that, interact with them, right? And then
Yeah.
use that understanding you have about their life and instant message them.
And
Hey,
the
so-and-so,
cool-
haven't chatted in a long time. Just wondering how you doing. I noticed looks like you took a trip last week. Where'd you go?
Yeah. The
Start
cool thing
developing
about
that.
social media is that usually you can see who is viewing your stuff.
Yep.
Mm,
So,
Yeah.
so if you look at who's liking it and viewing it, that gives you a good pool to reach out to them directly because you know that
Absolutely.
they've seen it and they won't be caught off guard if you reach out to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love it. Anita, you have a question.
Yes, my goal was 135,000. When I did the calculation, it's coming 45. Did I do wrong?
It depends. It's coming out, you need 45 units.
Yeah, that's impossible.
I think something, yeah, you missed something.
You want to go over her numbers? What's her numbers?
You want to do your number real quick, Anita?
135,000.
You want to
135?
make, you want to
And
make
cap is-
135?
Yes,
So you want to make 135,000 to you.
yes.
Okay.
And 20,000 cap.
20,000 cap. Okay.
Business expenses, you wrote 50,000.
So 50. Okay. So take those three numbers, 135 plus 20 plus 50.
Okay,
So it's, if you look at the formula, it's-
205.
okay,
Yeah.
205. And what's your average gross commission income from a sale?
That came to 4,500.
Came to
No,
what?
what is, go ahead.
4,500.
Oh, 4,500 is how much a average commission is?
Yeah, from the 135, I do 3%.
Okay. We're gonna back you
Yeah.
up. So I'm gonna ask you some questions, right?
Yes,
How much do you want to make in 1 year in your pocket?
in my pocket.
Yep.
I need 100,000, 135,000. I need.
135.
Okay, 135. Your
Yes,
cap is 20.
yes,
Your expenses are 50.
yes.
So 135.
I don't think she got her average GCI correct.
I know, we're gonna get there. 50, 60, 80, and then 20. So she's gonna make 205.
Yeah.
Anyway, check my math, guys. So
Yeah.
205, let me ask you this. What's your average sale price of a home in your area?
450,000.
So 450.
Yeah.
And what's your average commission over there? Is it 2.5% or 3%?
In the office, they said it could be 2 or 2.5.
All right, so we're gonna use 2.5 for this. So 450 times 2.5% equals 11,000. To make it round, it's 11,435.
Yeah,
Okay, so take $205,000 divided by 11,435.
Okay.
now what?
So that equals rough number, 17.8%. So your number would be 18 houses.
Oh, okay.
Much easier.
Thank you. Yes,
Okay.
So that's manageable too.
yes.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, great.
And that's
So,
part of this whole exercise too, is taking these numbers and getting them to something that's manageable and your mind can wrap their head
knowledgeable.
around it.
Yeah, yeah. And hold on to it. And you can look at, and then we'll get into the 411 every month. What are you going to do to get a sale on the board? I don't have a board anymore, but you know, the board, oops, hold on.
It's
All right,
electronic
so
now.
let's talk about activities. Let's talk a little bit. Everybody knows the 80-20 principle, right? Anybody tell me what the 80-20 principle is?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Tony.
So the 80-20 principle, it's 20% of your business, wait,
Efforts.
80%.
Yeah, they-
20% of your business comes from, No,
80% of the business comes from 20% of your
that's
contact.
what it is, sorry.
That-
I haven't finished my coffee yet this morning.
That's it.
Thank
Right.
you.
Yep. that's basically it. And it's across the board in everything you do, everywhere you go, every restaurant you go to, 20% are hustling and the other 80% of the staff is over by the soda machine. You know, everywhere you go, you can see that 80-20 rule. It was something brought into favor way back in the day, 1940. Quality control manager Joseph Giron documented a life-changing universal principle he called vital few and trivial many. The idea was that a relatively small percentage of the efforts lead to a vast majority of your results. And, you know, there's another way of looking at it. 20% of agents do 80% of the business. 20% of the agents are making 80% of the money. 20% of the, sometimes, you know, students in a class will be doing 80% of the work. So watch that in your daily life, and where do you land? You want to be in that top 20. Those are the rock stars of the world. So what you need to do, what are the 20% small things that are going to bring you 80% of results? You know, and this is what is the highly effective, best use of your time to get you those results. Because running around and doing this and this and that all day long is not a purposeful plan. You need to be very, very focused. And I know all of you guys are working in an office, and I'm sure there's 3 or 4 top producers. They've got their corner offices and, you know, all of that. Maybe you ask them, what are the 3 things that you do at a high? Most top agents, I don't know if you'd agree, Roger, but most top agents only do 2 or 3 or 4 things at all.
Yeah,
and they do it.
consistently. So yeah, to expand on that too, thinking about what we're doing on a daily basis. So let's say we get a listing or we get a buyer, and we are running that buyer around looking at 12 homes every day, Monday through Friday, and that's that one buyer we're working with. Well, that's not a good efficient, that's not going to get you to your goal if you spend a whole week with one buyer, right?
Yep.
You know, so servicing those folks and servicing the listings, not part of the 20%. That's part of the 80%.
Yeah.
Finding those folks who want to buy or sell is the part of the 20%. And we all call that lead generation. And sometimes I try to call it, just to change it, you know, relationship generation. You know, continuous contact with folks who may be thinking or may know somebody who may be thinking about
Right.
buying, selling, or investing.
Right. So you want to make sure that, has anybody ever heard of that rock, the big rock jar? I like this thing. So if you had a jar, like a big jar, you know, the old man, you know, and if you put all your, if you put big rocks in there, would that jar be full?
No, because there's going to be space between rocks, right?
Right. So then you can put, you know, maybe some gravel in there, littler rocks, and it's going to fill it up, but it's still not full, right? Because could there be room for more?
Well, I would think, because the little rocks aren't going to fall down to the bottom. They're going to get all jammed up towards
Right.
the top.
Right. So how about we pour some sand in there, and then it all goes down.
And shake it up and get it to settle.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay.
then, you know, is there anything else that could go in there? You know?
I'm
Right.
just gonna pour some water in that jar.
Right. You put some water in there.
Yeah, good
Right.
point. Yeah.
So the point is, water and the sand and the little rocks, that's emails, and that's all that junk that everybody gets distracted in doing. That's the kind of thing that slows people down. We have a little thing, we always have this goal, check your email at 9 a.m. and don't check it again until noon. And you'll be shocked at how many emails you didn't get. People look at their email all day long, and they think they're looking at emails, and they're just looking at the same thing. Try that exercise today. After lunch, do your calls, get some stuff done, and then don't check that email until 4 o'clock. And you will be shocked at how many emails you didn't get, and how less busy you are with that stuff. So that's just a little funny, what's the word? You know, like a little rhythm people do. They just sit and look at their email all day and they don't get anything done. So I guess for you guys, what are your big rocks? What is the one thing that you can do right now that would make it everything easier? Everything else would be easier, wouldn't even have to do it. Is there anything that you're doing that if you just did one thing, that thing you wouldn't have to do it again? Let's dig down. What is one thing that you could do that if you did it, you wouldn't either have to do it again or make everything else easier?
Or even.
I'm so new that I still need to get my business cards done.
Okay.
Would that
Is
count as a big rock, or am I missing the mark?
So that's a good point. Is that going to get you business, having printed business cards?
Not necessarily.
Okay,
But
now
I
pull
got a
your
great
phone
something I
out.
script for that one. Go ahead.
Now pull your
Something
phone
I
out.
won't have to do again.
Right. So
Well,
now pull your phone out. What would be a big rock in your phone if you just went through your contacts from A to Z and reached out to every one of those people one at a time and said, hey, introduce, depending on how you know them, how you doing? Just wanted to check in, see how you're doing, what's new with you, great, and had a conversation with them. And then also, as they come back around, you ask them, how's work going? You remember what you learned earlier, the Ford conversation, right? And next thing you know, you're talking about, they're going, hey, what have you been up to? Funny you should ask. Just started selling real estate with Keller Williams, and I'm real excited. I got a big goal I set with my coach. I'm going to sell 20 homes, help 20 families find a home next year or sell their home. And I was wondering, who do you know who might be thinking that you might know, might be thinking about selling, buying, or investing in real estate?
Right.
That would be the big rock, that call.
That could be one thing, the only thing you did next week or today. Call everybody, the top producer in my office. That's what he did when he got his license. And he is now running almost a 7-level team. He went through his phone and he called everybody, put it in his calendar for like 2 hours. And he just banged through it. And he's, had his script. He just said, hey, and it wasn't even long. And he always started it by saying, I know you're busy. I got to run into a thing, but I just want to chat and let you know that how you doing? What's going on? I haven't talked to you in forever. So he made it very, very, easy, and people are very responsive. And how's work at the dentist? How's work driving, plowing, what do you, and then they always say, what are you doing? You busy? And go, yeah, I just started real estate. Love it. Got a great team, got a great coach and ready to tear it up. Who do you know who's looking, so just find your thing. And the other thing, Alexander, and this is I'm joking a little bit, but not really. When you get your business cards, put them in the trunk of your car. Don't even use them. When you go see somebody somewhere at the gym or wherever you go, and you're talking about real estate, say, oh, I don't have any of my cards. Let me grab your number. Now you have their number in your phone. You give them your card, and there may be your grandmother might hold on to it, but nobody else is gonna. Would anybody agree with that? It's a
right.
I like that idea, because the ball's in your court. Then you have the ability to reach out to them. You're not waiting on them reaching out to you.
Right.
Because you can control you reaching out to them. You can't control them reaching out to you.
And hey, my cards are in my pickup. I don't, whatever you say. We say, oh, it's in my other bag, it's my other pocketbook. And they go, cool. And then you just take their number, and now you've got their number. Hey, I'll give you a call. Let's grab a coffee. I get it. Everybody wants their business card, and they'll spend hours designing them and ordering them, and it's crazy. So let's, So let's, that's your one thing. You agree?
That's
I like
your big
that.
rock.
And I think everybody else could do that exact same rock if you haven't already, calling everybody in your phone. Yes, you can skip over Southwest Airlines and Old Navy, because you may have that number in there, but let's call people. They're in your phone. They know you. They're going to be okay with getting a call. And let's get over that call avoidance. That is a, kind of a thing that a lot of people bring to the table. And it's our job as coaches to, get that out of you. Because you're not calling about, microbiology or something. You're calling about real estate, and everybody is very, very interested in it, and in particular in this time, because it's super important discussion. Who else has a big rock they're going to tackle?
So Deb, just to round off that too, as well, that the big rock's the phone call, the The sand or the 80% or the on the to-do list is to get your business cards done.
Yeah.
You don't have a business card, you can do business. A lot of people think their business card, oh, I'm now in business.
No.
Not really. You're in business as soon as you
Nope.
got your
Your
license.
business is you're in Ignite. Now you're a real estate
Yep.
agent. Let's get talking to every single person, everybody at the pizza place, everybody at Starbucks, wear your badge. All right, so the next segment here really is getting into the 411. Does anybody want to take a quick 10-minute water break, or let's do this, then we'll kind of dig into this 411 business.
Yeah, it's 10 past 10, so we'll be back in 10 minutes, about 20
Yeah.
past.
Yep, 10:20. You guys
Okay.
okay?
Cool.
We'll see you back then. Here we go. Hey, guys. Oh, thought it was late. I'm usually wandering around. Oh, yeah, I got to go back to Ignite. All right. Check it out. How's everybody doing? You're enjoying Ignite? Why can't I hear anybody? All right, what do we got?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, good. I thought I did something.
Yes.
Not shocking if I did something. All right. So yeah, I think this is a super great class. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's a little bit out of the box of what, you've been drilled in. So let's see what we're doing here. Is everybody back, you think?
Let's see.
I think we're pretty good. So, we're back on this whole thing, what successful agents do every day. So we've determined our goals, right? We kind of figured that math out to the best of our ability. And we kind of we know. So I would take that number and put it on your screensaver, put it on your mirror, on your bathroom. Make sure you have that thing. And then you can always even divide it by 12, and remember, also, when we're talking about goals, and I don't know if they really speak to this here or not, but in your goals and doing what we're going to do now is put this down on paper, what we're going to do to get these things done. We all know our homework assignment is going to be to go through that phone and call people. I would love, love, love for everybody to report back in that that's what they've done, because you will be shocked at how many really good, and the reason why you want to say, hey, I know I'm running into a meeting, so you don't get, stuck on a half hour, 45-minute call. Obviously, if someone's having a problem and something's happening, we don't rush them, but make sure you preface it. Hey, you got 5 minutes. I've just got to run in. I got to drop the kids off, or whatever you have to do, that way you can say, hey, I got to run, but let's catch up and grab a coffee. So making phone calls is great, but the next thing you always want to do is get together face to face with them. So never end a call without saying, hey, let me give you a call next week. Let's go grab a coffee. Or is there anything I can do for you? Do you want me to like your Facebook page? Do you need any, what can I do to help you? Okay, so let's talk about what successful agents do every day. They lead generate for buyers. They lead generate for sellers. What do we like better, sellers or buyers? I have a super attitude about this lately. What does everybody think about sellers and buyers? Let's hear some thoughts.
Who would you prefer to work with, a buyer or a seller?
Tony?
Well, I feel like sellers are probably better to work with because it's not as time consuming.
You don't have to drive them anywhere. What else?
When we took the real estate course, our sir told he used to do only listings because buyer agents do all the work. He just used to list it.
Okay, we can talk more on that. For 100 million years, sellers are better to work with. They're ready. They're moving for a reason. And again, you don't have to drive them anywhere. What's good about buyers? This is a trick question. What is something that's really great about, so we know listings are the way to be in list to exist. When you have listings, you have business. You market yourself, you market the property, you're doing open houses, everyone sees your sign, Facebook ads, the whole nine. And that brings in buyers. What is the secret thing that buyers have?
Leverage.
Pardon me?
Leverage. You now have a reason to go out and a very specific reason to go out and look for a specific property because that buyer's looking for it and they can't find it.
Right, but what else do buyers have that everybody forgets about?
A house that they need to sell.
You got it. That's it. That's a little secret. Everyone thinks buyers are first-time home buyers. It can be up to 50 to 75% of people that what you see have something to sell. So remember, listings are the best return on your investment, on your time, your marketing. It's the highest level return on your investment is listings. But remember, buyers have something to sell a lot of the time. So don't forget that piece. I have this whole thing in my program. I've been doing a lot of watching, and more than 50% of my business in the coaching program has been through listings. And I just didn't, so that's my goal. I always want more than 50% listings, because that's really the best way for folks to get those numbers, to get, if you have a listing, very likely you're going to pick up a buyer or two. Now you might have 3 pieces of business. So anyways, let's just, so I always want to kind of drill that in a little bit. So let's see, what are we doing? So what are our activities going to be? So has anybody ever seen the 411 action goal sheet? It's on page something of your thing. It's on page 7 of your participant guide, but certainly you can just make a piece of paper, your little sticky note. So basically you want your annual goal, your monthly goal. So if you need, whatever it was, 16, do the math. What is your annual goal for units? What is your monthly goal for units? And what are you going to do every week to get there? So it doesn't really look like it, but if you really look at this 411, it's really a calendar. And you should have a 411 that says November. And then you have another blank piece of paper, another one that says December. You should have a 411 for every month. The annual goal stays the same, the monthly goal stays the same, and your weekly goals may adjust. And then of course, if you're doing November, week 3, or whatever Thanksgiving is, you might lose some time during that week. You might have to cook or clean or go shopping or travel. So the purpose of this exercise is to let's plug in, get your piece of paper, put your annual goals, your monthly goals, and now we're going to talk about week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. I don't know if Roger's here.
Yep, I'm here.
I lost you. You were on my screen here.
Yep, I'm right here.
All right, good. So, yeah, so, so.
So just to back up and review, the 411 in the numbers mean something. Is the annual goal is the 1, the monthly goal is the other 1, and then the 4 is the 4 weeks.
Right.
And those weeks are going to be activity-based goals, meaning all activities, whereas your big goal. So in our example that we used earlier, that example had 20 sales a year. So whatever your number is.
That's why I'm not getting any.
So on the top, you'd have 20, and then you just divide that by 12 and you'd get your monthly goal. And then you wouldn't necessarily have a weekly goal to do a transaction every week. Your question down there that you're asking now, all right, what weekly activities are going to get me to that monthly goal, which will get me to the annual goal? So for example, how many two-way conversations do I have to have every week to get to my 20 transactions a year? Does that make sense to everybody?
You can look at it another way. Well, no, I was going to say you could look at it in parentheses, right? I want to get that camper. I want to get that, I want to get the camper, or I want to get my down payment. How many you want that? So what are the things that you have to do on the first week of every month? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So this exercise is for you guys to put in what you're going to do. We all know our first exercise is going to be calling our database, and how many calls and how many hours are you going to do that? If that's what you guys are going to do. These are your goals, not mine. Anybody have anything? Let's look at the chat. What are the things that I don't know if you guys have had a lot of sales. What has worked in the past too? Let's always make sure what we've done. So what kind of things we're going to put on here? What are we going to do on Monday?
If I may, I'm pretty sure that to be successful in this business, we have to do some not maybe not some, a lot marketing too. We have to advertise ourselves. We have to put our phone number, our email, our face out there for people to see, to get.
Okay, are you reaching out to people you know or people you don't know?
I'm reaching the people that I don't know.
Okay,
That's what I have to do. That's why I have my business cards to put in, businesses around in the little,
shops and things, yep.
yeah, those. And everywhere I go, I have some business cards in my car to put anywhere I am.
Mhm.
And also, it's an extra thing from talking to people every day. But also an ad in a newspaper, the local newspaper. I'm Polish, okay? This is my first language, and most of my customers would be Polish-speaking customers here in Connecticut. So there's in New Britain, there's a huge area of the Polish community with the Polish businesses and stuff like that. So I have to go there everywhere, every other door to work in,
And meet people and talk to them.
meet people, talk with them, and leave my business cards for the customers that be coming to grab something like that.
Right.
Also, the newspaper ad. There is a Polish newspaper called Polish Express. It's coming out every Thursday, weekly, newspaper. It's free for customers. So like a quarter of page with my name on it, with my face on it, it's like probably about $80 a week. But that's gonna be helping. I'm hoping a lot.
All right, so Andy or Roger, I feel like you have a comment. Go ahead and stay with.
Yes. So here's a good example of how we can help Andy put this into activities. So he mentioned a few things there: business card, an ad in a newspaper that's going to cost him money. And also going back to, I think it was Alexander who mentioned he's doing a lot of his work on Facebook and what have you. So I'd pose that back to you, a question to you, Andy, say, okay, what activities or how many business cards do you want to pass out every week? And what's that
Get
goal look
specific.
like for you?
Yep.
Or in Alexander's, in posting or instant messaging or whatever he's using is for his media.
How many?
How many posts a week do you want to post to get you to your goal? And then and I would caution Andy at this point to say, if you're going to spend money in the newspaper, $80 a week, how long can you spend and burn cash and not maybe get any activity from that? What would be better? What would be less? What would cost you nothing? Well, I'd say go through and pass out, go to Home Depot where people are hanging out, right? What are they doing at Home Depot and Lowe's? They're buying stuff. Some of them might be moving, some of them might be remodeling. Have conversations around those people and just be ready to pass your business card out if the conversation dictates. How many business cards at Home Depot could you pass out every week? That would be you taking the 411 and creating activities around down in the weeklies and saying, so if I'm going to have 20 conversations a week to get to my goal, well, week one, I'd have 20. That would be my goal. And I'd ask you, what's your reality? How many conversations did you have? And you told me I did 15. I'd say, great, wonderful. Now, week two, that next goal is going to be what? Is it going to be 20? That's the goal. Or are we shy 5? So now we have to make up that 5. So week two, that goal is going to go up to 25. We're lacking. Or in Andy's case, 25 business cards passed out.
Right.
For Alexander's case, he didn't do any posts, so he's going to double up his posts, or he's going to reach out to 20 more people in Facebook instant message or whatever the case may be. So that, and then you carry that all the way over to the fourth week.
I have a question for Andy. Is there a Polish speaking Facebook group?
Right. Good point.
Well, I have a lot of Polish speaking people in my, friends group. There is no separate Polish speaking group. I don't think so. No.
Why don't you make one?
Yeah.
Well, I just actually made my business, page on Facebook. I'm still working on it. It doesn't look pretty professional.
What about a social club?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of places like that. Yeah.
Okay, so
A lot of
Andy,
different businesses, the travel agencies, the grocery stores, the deli
Right.
kind of things, all those Polish.
Right. So there's
I
millions.
wanna,
So there's a lot of things you can do. When are they going on your calendar that you say today or Sunday night? You look and you go, Wednesday, I'm going to the grocery, you want to put it on your calendar so you have a plan. So you don't wake up in the morning and go, I think I'm going to run down to there. You have it set up for the whole month.
yeah, I understand. I will do it. Yeah.
Yep. Any other, and I think you could he start maybe this is a question for Ashley. Can he start a business page and name it, the friends of, not you, it's a separate group. You run it and you admin and you organize it. I think that would be great. That's what do you call it? A value proposition, a very specific value proposition that I can't do. I cannot surf. I don't speak, that's a unique value that you bring to the table.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, you really, I think that would be a great focus for you.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
I'm a little bit different. I'm doing more the commercial side and a business brokerage.
Yeah.
So I know we've talked a lot about lead generation and going through our phones. And would you say, like, since I'm a little bit different, a different box kind of, would I be going, like, I live in Maine, Kennebunk, Maine.
Oh boy.
Should I be going to businesses and asking owners if they know people who want to buy a business? Would I take it more down that road than?
Are you doing only commercial?
No, business brokerage and commercial.
But do you do any residential?
No, I'm not allowed to do residential.
What if you met somebody that might be doing something commercial, but at the same time might want to sell a house? Do you have somebody in your office that you could refer that to?
I do.
Okay, cool. I don't know, Roger, what do you think? I think,
so I'm assuming you only have your business in commercial license, so you're not allowed to sell residential?
No, the team I work with, he just prefers that we just sell commercial.
Okay. All right. So I would go to him. He would know better than all of us probably collectively. But you could go to your Chamber of Commerce and introduce yourself, send an introductory letter out to everybody that runs a business in that area. You could go to for example, in Mass here, I'd go to the public record and do a filter and get everybody's address that owns commercial property in the area, and just start reaching out to those people, find their phone numbers, find out where the tax bill's going for that property.
Yeah.
And go knock on that door or get that phone number and approach those folks.
Okay. Oh, you just gave me a wonderful idea with the Chamber of Commerce. That's a really great idea.
Yep. Commercial tends to be more networking, more business to business.
Yep.
Maybe join a BNI group or a business association, or, you have to find your thing, and anything business related, certainly. Do you have anything to do with the Kohl's directory there in your market center?
The Kohl's directory? I'm sorry.
It's a little bit more impactful database, and it's scrubbed for do not call and so forth. It's a little pricey. I didn't know if you had it up in Kennebunkport, but we'll all jump in the car and come up and see you, because that would be a nice trip. What other ideas? I mean, making phone calls is all great, but what's the next thing we need to do when we make a phone call? We touched on it a little bit before.
Meet the people face to face.
Yeah.
Set appointments.
How many appointments? So in your calendar, you want to do 20 houses. You got to do one a month. How many appointments? How many calls do you have to make? 10 calls a day, 20 calls a day. This is your goal, and you want to write it down. And then you do the good old fashioned time blocking. And every single call should round out with, hey, do you want to get together? Can I swing by your office? Or, we want how many appointments do you have, and then as you do this, you're going to start to see some metrics of what is working for you and what is not. and making sure that you're doing the activities that is your style. If you're not a social media person, don't spend hours on that. If you door knock, great. If you don't want to door knock, don't, but the thing of it is, it's like pizza. You don't want everything on there. It's not good, right? What are the things that you really want to do and what fits your personality, your style, so yeah, I mean, that's really what you have to do. Anybody else have any comments on this?
So Deb, I can give them a quick little formula to kind of
Let's do a formula. Thank you.
solve for the problem. So your question might be, all right, so for me to sell one or get one contract signed, how many two-way conversations do I have to get there? So if you want to write this down, okay, the MREA would give it to you. So if I had 12 two-way conversations and implemented some conversation around real estate and asked the question of who do you know who might be thinking buying, selling, or investing in real estate, they're saying on average, you should spin off and find at least one lead.
Of 12 people.
From 12 two-way conversations with a purposeful conversation, and you get interjected in their real estate and ask them the question, who do you know who might be thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate? Of course, you're starting off in the beginning with the Ford conversation, friends and family, occupation, recreation and dreams, all about them, what's going on in their life. And then you're spinning that conversation into a purposeful real estate conversation. So 12 to 1. So 1 lead, 5 leads should grab you 1 appointment. All leads aren't created equal. For some reason, one reason or another, they're not ready, willing, and able. They're not capable. They might not be qualified, and whatever the case may be. So you're always going to think of a conversion rate in between these things. So if I find 5 leads, then I can get 1 appointment, because one of those 5 leads will probably answer. If you do it effectively, will say yes to getting together with an appointment. So now you've got 1 appointment. 2 appointments done properly should equal 1 contract signed, whether it be with a buyer or a seller. So if I've got 2 appointments and I get 1 to sign a contract, and then I take that math, 12 times 5 times 2, that equals 120 two-way conversations to get 1 contract signed, and then a subsequent closing after that. So for example, if you were to do 10 transactions a year and that was your goal, if you just take 120 times 10, that's 1,200 conversations a year. Divide that by 12 to give you your monthly number, and then divide that by 4 to give you your weekly number. And that'll give you that two-way conversations every week to get you to the goal. Does that make sense?
That's some good math. Well, it's a good
It's right out of the
place to start.
MREA for the most part.
Let's use what is kind of average, not average, but some data that somebody has done some research on, right? Let's use that and see how those numbers work for everybody. Let's see what we got going in the chat. Everybody have any thoughts? Get the link to the this info is there. Okay.
Here's my thoughts. I think I need more friends.
Well, you need to build your database, right?
I agree, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, the quantity, let's make sure we're doing really high quality. You can do a high quality with 50 people or low quality with 250.
So Roger, you said two-way conversations, right?
Yep.
Is there another model as well? Can you write a letter or an email that says, are you have anybody buying, selling, investing interested?
Okay, so you bring it up a great point, right? So there's passive in prospecting. So passive would be marketing, advertising, emails, commercials, so to speak, posts on Facebook. That's passive marketing and advertising. And think of that as you're branding yourself, and you're letting people know and exposing yourself to people.
That's sand.
Huh?
That's like the sand.
Oh yeah. Yep. So you're going to have to do a lot of that and reach a lot of people to get the numbers to work. This ratio is based on if you reach out face to face, belly to belly, In a lot of cases, the younger generation's doing this via text and via instant messages. So, I'm a little older than that. So to me, that's a foreign language, so to speak, but you can also use those. But the ratio really works if you're having two-way conversations, whether it's face-to-face, belly-to-belly, and it's an interaction between you and the other folks. If you're just reaching out via email or sending out introductory letters, hey, I'm doing real estate, that's wonderful. That's the introduction. That's letting them know. That's a touch. That's trying to get top of mind with them. And part of that is a part of it, but that's not going to get you to your goal by itself. Do that and the two-way conversations 4 times a year. And that's the DTD2 system that they'll introduce you in bold. And it's just an acronym. Stands for Do the Database, 2 letters of the alphabet. That suggests that you'll be reaching out to your database of people that you know and know you 4 times a year to have a two-way conversation with them. Some of those conversations are going to have nothing to do with real estate. It's just you staying in touch and generating that relationship and nurturing that relationship. Every now and again, you're going to slip some real estate in there, or they're probably going to ask you about real estate, to be quite honest with you. Because you're touching them, they know. And most people, if you ask them about what's going on in their life, they're going to ask you what's going on.
Mirror.
Yep. So that's that two-way conversation model. I mean, it has to be purposeful.
Let's do a little thinking in our own lives too. We have lenders in our world. We have insurance people and financial advisors, and we all get emails. Every month I get an email from 2 lenders from the same company. It's literally the same thing, and they come right after each other. It's funny. I have not got a phone call from either one of those people in 10 years. So yeah, I see their little thing and it's cute and happy 4th of July, but I'm not connected in any way. So if you have somebody that calls you and says, hey, happy 4th of July, you're going to be, it's like hardwired. It's a much deeper conversation. So I don't know if you guys want to do a little thing in your head. Who, as a business person, or have I seen that always asks how I'm doing? Does anybody have those people in their life? I find lenders that are really good will call you, check in, but if you don't hear from people or at least get something from them other than passive stuff, it's not as effective. Would you agree in your own life? If you sort of don't hear from anybody, you don't feel as important as if you did hear from them. What are your thoughts on that? Okay, here we go.
You're bringing up a great point, and I think we can all resonate with that. I'm never disappointed when somebody gives me a call and checks in on me and says, what's going on?
Yeah. It's the holidays too.
Right.
Happy the extra holidays. Step, I think that people appreciate those little extra that set you apart from other people.
That's right, Connie. And Samantha has a question. What would be your game plan next step for a discussion if you reach out to someone who isn't interested in buying, selling, or investing, but willing to talk to you? What type of conversation and info would you bring to the table in that meeting? So they just say, no, I'm not really ready to sell or buy. But yeah, let's go grab a coffee. What's the conversation?
So my conversation would be just to solidify that relationship moving forward even more and just stay in relationship with them. So it would be all about them, about their friends and family, Ford, occupation, dreams, right? And you may be able to supplement something in there, although they're not ready. I'll bet you dimes to dollars that they know or are aware of somebody who may be ready, and you just change, frame your question a little differently. Keep in mind, guys, you're not going to be bombarding people with this question. Give me business, get me business.
Oh.
The job is, if you will, lead generation should be relationship generation based. It's if I'm in relationship with Deb Hayes or Alexander, I'm just in their life enough throughout the course of a year. And we've all had this happen, right? Have you ever had a best friend that you went to college with and you haven't talked to him for 3-4 years, and every time you get on the phone with him, it's like you never left?
Yep.
That's all you're doing it, and you're doing it systematically through the MREA models, through communication, two-way conversations. It's just a measure, right, of what's a good conversation, and the ratios will work if you exercise that. And don't go into these conversations thinking, I got to get a lead out of this. I got to get an appointment out of this. Go into this conversation just to enhance the relationship and the friendship or the professional relationship that you might have with them. They're all not our friends. They're all not going to be in our lives 24/7.
Right.
But there are people out there who need, and we're offering our help. I always, hey, anything I can do to help you today? No, nothing. You sure? You don't need a good contractor. You don't need you guys ever thought about refinancing? I got a few lenders I can share their names.
Right.
If you ever do, please consider me a resource and reach out to me with anything real estate related. And you know what, to be quite honest with you, if you need help with anything for that matter.
Yeah.
You know,
And she wrote, what type of conversation or info would you bring? I think it's always wise, if you're ever going to go to any event anywhere, to do a quick, like, what's going on in the market thing. I mean, we all check MLS 45 times a day, probably. If you're going to a football party and it's, in a particular town, doesn't hurt to do a little knowing what's going on. We all go to different things and we're all friends with people. And I don't know about any of you, but I can't go anywhere without people asking me about real estate. So, hey, what's going on over there? And how much is that? Be ready for that kind of stuff. If, as you, in same thing with, if you meet somebody for coffee, nurture them. Like Roger says, this is about bringing value to them, and we're never asking for business. Just, hey, if you know anybody, let me know. I promise I'll do a good job. But I like the idea, a little bit of having a little knowledge of what's going on in the market, depending on your area. I'm in a little bit more of a smaller town, so you have to know everything. Because
right.
everybody should know everything.
That question's going to come up. People are going to, what's going on in the marketplace? And there's, maybe you have 3 or 4 data points that you can just click off the top of you. What's days on market in the area? What's the average list price in the area or sale price in the area? What's the average list to sales a percentage? Meaning what are sellers actually getting for their homes? Are they getting 100% of their list price? Are they getting 98.6% of the list price? Or in our cases, a lot of times in the towns, and it's slowing down a little bit, right? Are they getting 103 or 105% of their list price when the home closes?
Right. So
I'd be interested in that information.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then you follow it up, and this is gold here. Remember this statement. When somebody says, hey, what are the rates and how's the market? You always say, oh, they're hovering around 3%. It depends on people's credit score and income levels and debt. Why do you ask? Are you thinking of making a move? Or, hey, what's the market? I saw there's all those condos. They're selling like hotcakes. Yeah, they are. It's really good. What do you have interest in those condos? Because you ask that question, they might say, I don't, but my daughter-in-law, and everybody has there's a reason sometimes people ask you a question. And simply sometimes it is just chat, and that's okay. But always remember those words. Why do you ask? Can I help you? And it could be they need a refi. It could be they just want to looking for a landscaper. Who knows? So always have that sort of up in your wheelhouse. So whenever anybody chats you up, whether you're standing there or done, anywhere, make sure you have those words in hand. All right. So does everybody feel pretty good about their 411 goals? Are they going to do the exercise and make sure that they're inputting these things on the paper, and then it gets transferred into your calendar? Any questions on that? Or Raj, you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. So there's one more note about the 411 that I want to make for everybody too, is if you think about the big rocks or that 20%, the 80-20 rule, it applies here. The 20% is on your 411 on the front page. So that's the actual activities that are going to get you to your goal. The flip side, flip the page over, and that becomes now your to-do list. That's where you're putting that 80% activities. Somebody used the example of getting their business cards. Those are important things too, but they're just not on the front page. They're on the back side, because once you've done your 20%, done all your lead generation, reaching out to folks, and now you're kind of waiting for them to respond back. If it's texting, instant messaging, things of that nature, or returning phone calls, then you earned the right to flip over to the next page. And now you can start working on ordering your your business cards. You can start, tweaking your website if that's the case, or
Yeah.
creating a fancy pantsy shiny penny type of new marketing piece that you're going to mail out.
Right, right.
Think of that 411. That's the way that tool works. And
Yeah.
the 411 is something that we use in coaching. That's what we're reviewing with you every week. We're questioning you on it, and we're using what we call the GROW method, which is, what's your goal? What's your R? GROW is an acronym. R, what's the reality? How did you do? Did you hit your goal? No, you didn't. And then the O would be obstacles or objections. All right, what got in your way? Why didn't you get that done? I got busy, school, kids got sick, whatever the case may be. And all these answers are okay. They're just reality, right? And then the W is, what's the way forward? What are we going to do now next week to catch you up? And sometimes it's just working on your thinking, thinking on your working on your limiting beliefs, or practicing, again, going back to scripts and getting you comfortable, which most of you are going, what should I be saying to these people when I talk to them?
Exactly. So let's, as with anything, we don't want to lose focus. You've got your 411 and then your to-do list, and make sure you get those big rocks done. And when you're never going to not hear us say that, because that's very important. So really, here's the reality, guys. The day-to-day life of successful agents is very repetitive, actually. They know what their routine produces. They know that their routine produces the results they need to live the life they want. Often that's enough to make them love the grind. There are many of you in this room who, once you start seeing your work pay off, you'll love the grind too. So let's make sure, again, if you walked around and asked the top producers what their 3 things, it is repetitive and it's consistent, and you just do it, and then you just keep at it. So let's see, where else are we? What's next? Accountable people achieve results others can only dream of, right? So do you guys ever do affirmations? Anybody do affirmations?
Yes.
How do you do that, and when?
Well, I just try to do it. I don't do it all the time, but it is part of that bold thing that we learn. So every once in a while I'll get into it, and I'll give myself some affirmations, a little rah-rah, my own little cheerleader. So
well, you know what it is? It's when you say it out loud, things are more likely to happen. And we're not trying to be mushy and all of that, but you do need to repeat the things that you've written down. That big other page there with your money, and you're taking 3 months off in your camper. Let's say I'm going to do that every day. And I appreciate whatever yours are. If you want to throw it in the chat. So, this could be a great, daily mantras. This could be a great way to start your day and get you right into purposeful behaviors instead of wandering around for a bit. And I think the more you get things in the calendar, the more likely you're going to live
Success.
you'll see the success. And that's really what everybody wants, right? So let's see, what do we think? Goals without accountability. How about accountability? Everybody love to be accountable? Who loves accountability? Everybody, yay. All right, goals without accountability are just wishes. We're more likely to do what we've said we're going to do if we know we must answer to someone, right? Does anybody want to, what do you guys think about going into some breakout rooms and have let everybody know what they're doing for accountability, or do you just want to go for it here? What do you think, Roger?
I would be game to go into breakout rooms if you know how to turn that thing on.
All right, bear with me. Okay, guys, so what I'm going to do, we're going to break you into, what do you call them, breakout rooms, maybe just for a couple of minutes. Somebody sort of be in charge. Let's naturally, like somebody say, okay, just go around the thing. Let's say what we have for goals and what is our one big thing. How about that? What's our one thing? And then what we're going to do. What's our first thing we're going to do every day, that we're going to do it every day. And then we'll kind of report back and discuss. And that'll be like a 3 or 4 or 5 minute type thing. I don't know how to undo it, but we'll figure that out later. All right, so
think
I'm gonna put it and you just, go ahead, Roger.
I think when you put the timer on it, it'll just kick us back in 3 minutes. So
Okay, we shall
I would
see.
just- I would just do 3 minutes, maybe.
There's no place to put 3 minutes.
All right.
Sign automatically. I mean, we'll just see what happens. So I'm going to create it. So let's have a really good purposeful discussion with each other. Just, hey, let's get right into it. What are our goals? What is our one thing? And when are we going to see it on our calendar? So let's go for it. And then I'll see you back. I think you guys have to agree or something.
Yep, we'll have to
All
accept
right,
the room.
open rooms, add a room, recreate options. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Breakout rooms will close, not 30 minutes. We don't want to do that. How about? All right, let's see how that works. All right. Go for it. Hold on, bear with me. Open all rooms.
Okay, there you go.
Things are happening.
Yep, just say join.
And join and just, let's just have a good quality discussion. And if you guys, okay, they're probably just going. I didn't put myself in a room. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot to call you. I am teaching Ignite and I needed to reschedule. Sorry. Can we do it a little bit later? She told me yesterday she was going to email it to you. I actually want to see if David here in the office would do it for him. I want somebody to review the condo rules, regulations, and budget. All right, how do we do? Oh, not done yet. How do we do? Did it work? Hello?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it
Good
worked.
work. We did have breakout groups.
Ta-da.
Good job, Deb.
Wow, cool. Learn something new every day. So how do we do? Accountable people achieve results others that can only dream of. So what did everybody learn from each other?
We learned about each other's different accountability partners. Like one, his coach every day at 5 o'clock, he's going to text and say what he did. I have a team leader, so my accountability is towards him. And I think for under the umbrella of accountability for us who have mortgages and kids and colleges coming up, that's another accountability, invisible accountability partner.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. What else?
In our group, we kind of the main things like we had a bunch of newer agents in our group. So the big thing was building their contacts. And I was saying that whenever I train new agents, I always tell them that building your contacts area in command should be like your main focus right away, because that kind of like lays the foundation for your whole business going forward. And then a couple other things were we talked about staying connected, so like joining local community groups to meet new people, and then just lead gen is also the other big thing that we talked about. So
All right. Anybody else from the next room? Thoughts?
A blocking of time management, block a slot of time in the morning to get dedicated to get lead gen and get it done.
Maybe organize it the night before you finish your day. Make sure you have your schedule for tomorrow, and then you really graduate to doing it on Sunday night or Friday night so that you have next week planned. We don't ever want to get up in the morning and go, I think I'm going to do this today. It has to be done. Anybody else?
Basically, we talked about how important it is to reach out to the bigger producers, I think, in our communities. Matt, how do you call them? The
market center.
Thank you. Into the market centers. Especially, I mean, if you're looking at your goals and you're feeling somewhat overwhelmed by them, and to kind of match up to somebody who is doing that performance and ask them how they're doing.
Yeah.
How they're doing it.
I don't think I've ever met a top producer that wouldn't take the time to talk to a newer agent. And then that's going to resonate to them, and go, that Amanda, she's on it. I got to keep my eye on her, What else? Any other thoughts? All right, so we've got some Q&A here. So we've got ahas to achievement. So little mastermind here. How has your thinking changed regarding goals? What ideas and mindsets are new? We just mentioned a couple, but let's hear some more. How has your thinking changed?
One thing for me is that, obviously I'm a new agent and I don't have too many leads, but for the time that I have been an agent, I've been really nitpicky and working on the leads that I do have instead of generating new leads.
Yep.
So I've been chasing those pebbles in that sand instead of those boulders that I can put down. So I was kind of thinking, and it's not unachievable to do both, but I was thinking maybe focus on building new relationships rather than working on the ones that you have.
Yep. Always work on.
To like every little detail, you know?
Yeah, new business always takes precedent off old business, excuse me. So yeah, you're in building mode right now. And, and we talked a little bit about having 10 conversations a day or 12 conversations. How about go somewhere where there's 12 people, and get them all done at once? COVID and it's all weird and everything now, but still that can be an extremely good use of your time. Church, bowling, the gym, the library, wherever you hang, make sure you've got a group of people that you're talking. So any ideas or mindsets that are new for people? Oh, Shelley, sorry.
Oh, thank you. That's okay. No, I just think this is Alexander. I love what you just had to say, because I kind of feel the same. I already can. Being of a different age, I can cultivate people that I know, but also I'm thinking this is the perfect time, as Deb said, to get out there. Things may be a little slower. This is holiday season. Accept those invitations to those gatherings that you might not have otherwise done prior to this. Look in your local Action Unlimited while you're in New Hampshire, but I mean your local, flyer that comes out, see what events are going on in town. And I think I think that's a great way to get out there, put yourself out there. And no matter who I meet this day and age, no matter where it is, when they engage me or I engage them in conversation, one of the first 5 questions they're going to ask me is, and what do you do for a living?
Always. Yeah. And go ahead.
That's a great point, because I mean, if people are more drawn to community during the holidays and the season of giving, so there's going to be a lot more community events. I didn't even think about that, really.
Perfect.
So just, I guess just look to your town's Facebook.
Absolutely.
And see what's going on. I never even thought about that, and how that networking might be boosted during these. I guess
Absolutely.
some people even say like the off season of real estate, because there's not a whole lot of transactions happening in the winter. So, that might be a great idea.
Well, let's change your mindset. There's a lot of action going on in the
I
holidays.
know.
No, but there's sort of less people, but they're higher sort of motivated. If people are driving around with their kids in the snow, they're probably going to buy a house, as opposed to driving around and buying pumpkins and just doing, So yeah, I think you guys are really on it. Holiday things, every town has something at the library or at the thing, make sure you're participating in things, and just, you don't have to be the big show, just participate and engage, and make sure you have 25 business cards in your pocket, and don't leave until either you didn't give one to somebody, but got their number, or, make sure you go home with none. And I think that can be good. So what do you feel differently about today? Was anything particularly meaningful to you guys? Who else?
The setting up of the yearly goal and narrowing it down to how many houses and per day, micromanage, that helped.
Yeah, really understanding what you need, how many things you need. Sometimes new agents come in, I'll say, how many houses do you want to sell next year? And they just say, oh, a whole bunch. Well, we need to be a little bit more specific if we're going to plan. If you owned a flower shop, you'd have to know how many things you have to buy to sell, because they're going to go back, so this is all about your business. So anything else that was meaningful to someone?
I think that for me, it was also very similar to what Anita was saying, but in the backward sense, just kind of working backwards from it, saying like, these are the things that I want in my life. So what is the monetary goal that I need to work on? And then to break out into that was relatively a revelation for me. So thank you for that.
We love revelations. and that's what this is about. Keep opening your mind to think bigger, 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 bigger. Alexander, you gonna say
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, I'd like to jump in on that too, because a lot of, I don't know, in my mind, uh, a lot of this business from how I see it, obviously as a new agent, is kind of by chance and building relationships and kind of flying by the seat of your pants. It's that, but it can also be scientific. You can break it down and do the numbers.
Yep.
And that's not really something I grasped until today.
Yep.
Like when I came up with my 26 houses and then breaking that down into monthly. If I'm trying to do 26 houses a year, it's going to be a little over 2 houses a month.
Yeah.
And that's just something that I didn't even think about and even formulate in my head until now. And that, I like that.
Right. And do you simply go to the same restaurant every day or the same 3? Being out there is really what's going to get you there. And I like that you said it can be scientific. Yeah, if you just wander around, you'll get some business. But if you have a plan, you will execute more. And if you hold yourself accountable, have somebody in your office or your spouse or your kids, why don't you tell your kids your goals? If I do this, we're going to go to Disney, or, and they'll hold you accountable, right? So how will your behaviors be different going forward? What actions will you take going forward? Like what behaviors are going to be put into play?
I think I want to make real estate my identity. I haven't really hit that yet. And I don't know, that statement alone, I want to make real estate my identity. I want everyone that knows me, that knows I'm in real estate. That's my thing. I'm their guy.
That's it.
Alexander.
Yep.
Introduce yourself to the group. My name's Alexander and I'm a what?
So my name's Alexander. I'm a new agent. I'm a realtor. And I'm up here in New Hampshire. I'm not sure really where I know it's kind of a mixed bag here. This is my first Ignite class. I wasn't able to get on board earlier, so I was a little weary jumping in a little later in the class, but it's been awesome.
All right. So Roger, what word did you hear that you want him to take out?
New. I'm new agent.
You've been here a week. You're not new
Not
anymore.
necessary.
Nobody needs to know that.
That's another thing that I heard you say that I kind of tried to grab onto.
Right.
Yeah.
Make it till you make it.
Make it till you make it. Hey, and that's called the elevator speech. That's an old term. I don't know if people still know that. What do you say to somebody in that little ride up the elevator? And they said, hey, what do you do? What do you do? You go, hey, I'm Deb Hayes. I'm a real estate agent over at Keller Williams. I do residential and commercial and a little bit of new construction. What do you do? Boom. So you need to have that down. So work on that a little bit, right? But I love the statement, I'm going to make real estate my identity. For some reason, there's a thing, people want to be secret agents. Well, I don't want anybody to know, and I don't want to say, and I don't want to be that guy. You have to be that person, and you can do it in your own personality way. You don't have to be, again, the big show. You are who you are. People like you and know you and trust you and will want to work with you. If you're genuine and come to the party and offer value and want to take care of people, they'll get it. You start on the BS and you're out. Right?
So Deb, I'll share a story with one of my coaching clients. We just had the conversation the other day, and this kind of rolls back to Alexander and other people in our lives. You want people that are going to support you in your dream and in your goal and in your journey to be a realtor. For example, she was telling a friend of hers that I'm going to go door knocking this weekend. And that particular friend said, oh my God, why are you going to do that? If you came to my door, I'd shut the door in your face. And she came to the conclusion, well, you know what? I'm not going to hang around, or I'm not going to volunteer that information to a negative Nancy like you.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the noise outside of your own head, and don't also listen to the noise inside your own head.
Yeah.
Just do things. And with Alexander's point, I'm a realtor. I'm excited about it. I'm proud of it. And I'm not going out there like a car salesman. I'm going out there like a professional, and I'm going to give people information if they need it. If they don't want it, well, then I'm going to talk to them about what they want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's not about me. It's about them. It's about who I'm talking to. And if you do that constantly and consistently, when you go to a party, shake everybody's hand in the room, so to speak, or whatever your style is. Acknowledge people in the room, say hi, how do you do? You're going to get good. How do you know what brings you here? Ask them questions about them. And if you're just constantly asking who, what, when, where, why, and how questions of people, you're going to learn things about them. And then go probe. Alexander, tell me more about that story. Why is it so important to you that you become a realtor? What is it about being a realtor that excites you? In asking those emotionally generated questions shows him I care.
Yeah.
And
People
just limit.
People don't care what you know until they know that you care. Write that down somewhere, right? People do not care about how awesome you are until they know that you care about them. And that's why the beginning of your real estate career, and it'll go with you forever. You really always want to be, you always want new business and new people, but you really always want to be nurturing those people that and making sure that the people who know you and love you and trust you and will give you business are, you're really there for them. So that's just part of it. So, I love what everybody has to say. So what tools, models, systems, what are you going to use to get yourself really purposeful? You know what E to P is? Entrepreneur to purposeful. We all have an entrepreneurial sense. That's why we signed up to be real estate agents, right? It's a great class. It's called E to P. It's a 7. What are they, Roger? 7 somethings?
Principles? Is it the?
Yeah, 7. Okay.
Yeah.
So we all are entrepreneurs. We were 9 years old. We're going to do a lemonade stand. Okay, cool. Let's do a lemonade stand. So, we need a table. We need a chair. You can think about it all day long, but until you go find a table, couple of chairs, you might need a buddy, tablecloth, leave me a little sign, and then you limit the whole 9. You got to get some money from your parents to, support you on it. And then you have your stand. And then afterwards you go, okay, we had way too much ice. It all melted. We didn't have enough, and that's E. E is when you have the great idea. P is purposeful. So we want you purposeful in everything that you're doing. So what are your tools and systems that are going to help you stay focused and stay accountable? What are you guys going to do differently maybe than, what tools or system are you going to use?
Utilize command.
Absolutely. Command, like Ashley said, you get your people in command, and now you can tag them accordingly. You can have a schedule to call them, and then you can do some passive smart plans that shoots them an email and shoots them a text and shoots you a task to snoop around on social media. So let's use that command system. Anything else that might be a great tool or system?
What did we learn about today?
Your phone's contacts.
Yep.
Or 1-1 plan.
Absolutely.
Yep.
After the class, I want you to, after lunch, sit down and look at what we talked about today. Take an extra half hour and really say, I'm going to set this on my calendar. I'm going to make November a really impactful month for me. I'm going to put on from 9 to 10. I'm going to do these things. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to do social media. Whatever you're going to do, get it on the calendar. And I think you will find that it will be the way. So taking the time to reflect on what you've learned is important in building your confidence and celebrating your growth. I see people growing in front of my eyes here. You know, you're coming to understand things. I'm going to make real estate my identity. And you can do that in a very professional, friendly, lovely manner. And I think that will take everybody a long way. So let's all take that advice. So yeah, so we know our goals, right? This is old school Ignite. This is what they wanted everybody to do. It's called the 10 fours. 10, and I'm sure you've seen this. 10, you got to add 10 contacts to your database every day. You remember, we always working on new business. We want to have 10 conversations a day. Your conversion might be, you need 20 conversations a day. And handwritten notes, I know some people go, what are those? Where do you get stamps? You know, people love, I've had people say, where do you get stamps? Like, really? Legit. So, you know, handwritten notes can be, that's where you want your business card. You know, hey, thanks so much for your time today. I know you're busy. You know, looking forward to grabbing a coffee someday. And then obviously we want to preview 10 homes per week. I want you on MLS morning, noon, and night. What's new, what's under contract, what's sold, days on market, and just kind of get a little handle on monitoring that, so it becomes very second nature to you. Once you get it set up and you're looking all the time, you're gonna instinctually go, oh boy, a lot of under contracts, a lot of under contracts. Then after a while, you'll start to see a lot of closed, and then you're gonna watch for some subtle changes. Ooh, that one's still on the market. That's weird. You know, so this is how you watch those subtle moves, you know. What else we got? So scripts, right? Lead generate. Why is it important to learn, internalize? We talked a bit about scripts. Roger, how often do you do script practice with your folks?
As often as I can, in a sense, but at least twice a week. I tell people you should probably practice your scripts at least 3 times a week, if not more. And once the good news to script practice is, once you learn one script, more than likely that helps you learn the next script, and it's not as an overwhelming script to learn. So for example, if I'm doing the who do you know who's thinking about buying and selling a house, well, I don't have to learn the part in the front that says, hi, my name's Roger Ring from Keller Williams. How are you today? You know, that's an easy script. So break it down incrementally to find those pieces that you need, and think of the script as at least in 2 or 3, or in a bigger script, 4 pieces, and learn them segmentally. But you know, they become easier as you learn and master one, that one similar to the next one you might learn. But yeah, at least 3 times a week, if not 5 times a week, if not every morning, just read a script through.
Yeah.
Until it starts become rhythmic to you, you know.
Does everybody have their script book?
You should, right? So
Yeah.
I tell my folks
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I got it when I signed up, or if I had to be here at the beginning of the class.
Yep. In your in the Ignite module thing here, you ask your Dofi or somebody to get you your scripts, your RTT person. There's a script book somewhere hanging around your office. Have somebody email it to you, you know. And everybody should have them. And don't just forget that it's called a script. I don't like that word. It has a weird negative thing about it. You know, it's just words. You know, everybody knows we hear the same script every morning. Welcome to Dunkin' Donuts. What can I get for you? That's a script to move the cars forward. Okay. Somebody figured it takes that long to say that. And, you know, so don't be afraid of them. Learn them, because we said this way back in the very, very beginning of the whole deal. You know, learning your scripts, knowing your words help you listen at a higher level. Right.
So
now we haven't.
Your script book should have been shared with you when you got all the modules.
It's in there.
So you have 2 script books. One's for Spark, and then there's another script book for Elements, and then you also have a toolkit in there too. So all those 3 you should print out and stick them into a 3-ring binder, so that, you know, especially, you know, when I'm talking to my clients, I'll go, grab your script book. Let's start. Let's practice one of those. You know, and they can just reach it. It's right there. You know, otherwise, then you go looking for it on the computer.
Yeah. But it's in this whole program, and I know, oops, someone's leaving a message. Can you please? Hi, I've been invited to Ignite, but I'm not with the company. Is it available to me? Margaret? Yes, of course it
Yes,
is. We
yep.
share everything. Who invited you, Margaret? I would check in with whomever invited you to Ignite and just say, hey, I'd love to hear more about this script book. I want to hear all about Keller Williams, and I love Ignite, and let's go for it. You know, people come to Keller Williams because they really like this professional atmosphere that we have going. And it sounds to me like somebody sees some talent in Margaret and wants to help her get to the next level. So in the files on the Facebook page, everybody needs to make sure they've joined this Ignite Facebook page. And I'm sorry, I don't have that like link thing here, but we'll get you there. Don't worry. So we could break out into do a little breakout room and do some scripts if anybody wants to maybe practice the, hey, I'm this is Deb Hayes. I work over at Keller Williams in Westford. You know, your sort of elevator speech. You guys want to break back into those breakout rooms, take turns and work on your greeting and your identity as a real estate agent. Everybody down for that for about 5 minutes?
I am.
So just go into your rooms and then just jump right into it. Pick 2 people, say, hey, hi, let's go, and get her done. So let me go back and see if it's the same way as before. Yep. Ooh, it does. Open all rooms. Cool.
You're going to be an expert there now, Deb, on that.
Be like, ta-da. All right.
Rooms are pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yep. They spell speech. How come I didn't get into a room? She's going to email it to you now. Where's my breakout rooms? Okay. All right. Awesome. Oh, let me I gotta shut my door. All right, is everybody feeling smooth? Turn this off. Okay, is everybody feeling good about their you know, their words? Oh, hold on. In the what do you call it? In the chat, there is Ashley put the Facebook link in there. So get into that Facebook group and you can find all of the materials in there. All right. So anything else, Roger, as we're kind of wrapping up? I mean, basically it's, you know, make your success list, which I think you guys are going to do. Anybody else have anything they'd like to comment on? And we're kind of finishing up the program. Any thoughts?
So, I mean, I would just say, stick with it, hang in there. You know, quitters never win and winners never quit, right? And there's going to be times where you're frustrated. There's going to be times when you're overwhelmed. It's accepted and expected, you know. Show up, put the effort in, you know, you'll succeed. What's that success look like? It's individual to everybody. Don't compare yourself to others. Somebody might just have better success right out of the gate than you. Don't get discouraged. Stick with it. If you keep doing it and think of your job as just talking to people and being in contact with people, business will come to you.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, the scripts, the knowledge, the information, as Deb alluded to, you know, knowing the inventory in the area and having that stuff, you know, top of mind in your own mind, previewing homes on a weekly basis. So that's the, you know, hey, I was just in a house down the street, you know, that just came on the market. So I stopped by because you're in the street and you happen to know somebody down the street. You stop by just to do a pop by. I was just checking out a house down the street right there, naturally just going to work into a real estate conversation. But that's how to use the strategies and plans. I think it was Alexander who said, I'm going to make this into my life, my lifestyle. And that's what real estate really is. It's a lifestyle career or a lifestyle business.
Yep.
You get to dictate all the rules.
Yep. Be organized, stay on task, stay on your calendar. Any last questions, comments, ideas they might want to share? Let's just, any comments on people's, go ahead.
So, I mean, this is my first class here. What was the handbook or whatever that you were supposed to participate with this kind of stuff?
Let me see if I can't figure it out. Hold on. Let me see if I can't do something here.
And if not, then I'm sure I can talk to
I mean, let me, you've got to talk to somebody in your office.
my progress coach, and I'm sure she has all the info and stuff.
Just say, there's a package, and every single day there's a little participant guide. And there's something called the participant guide, and I'm going to try to see if I can't find it here. Do we have it, Ashley? I don't know.
It might actually be in the chat if you go back kind of far. I put in a link to something.
To the Facebook or to the?
Yeah.
To there's like a little. Oh, actually, I found it
in the Zoom.
Oh, here we go. We got it. Right here, student.
Oh, okay, cool.
So grab that, get in there, print them, you know, or not, you know, you can watch if you have two screens, but.
Awesome.
All right, awesome. And
Yes.
definitely get those script books written out. When you're sitting around waiting for somebody to get off the bus or whatever you're doing, just do them. And before you know it, or find somebody in your office, say, hey, let's do some scripts, you know, every morning at 8:30.
Or if anybody right here on the screen wants to connect with anybody, start connecting through the chat. Hey, listen, I'm looking for a script partner.
Yep.
And you'll get volunteers. And sometimes it's best if it's not somebody in your office because,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yep.
somebody up in New Hampshire, you know?
Yep. And if you script with somebody, get right into it. Just text each other. Hey, I'm going to be the agent. You're going to be somebody I used to work with at, I don't know, Market Basket. And then you just go, you call, hey, you know, this is Amanda over here, you know, just want to check in. I haven't talked to you forever. And, you know, how's everything going? What are you doing for the holidays? You know, and go right into it. And then afterwards, reverse the identities, so to speak, and then tell each other how they did. hey, you rush too much, or you're babbling on, not forever, remember, blah, blah is just as good as blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I
If you're
think that's
babbling
a-
on, you don't have the script internalized.
You're not, yeah, so get the script. It's weird to do it in the beginning, but I'm telling you, it doesn't take long to get the hang of it. And like Roger said, once you get sort of going, it sort of just comes to you, and you don't feel so weird about it. It's more just feeling funny about it in the beginning. Anything else? Oh, we got some people looking for some scripting, so connect with each other. We'll leave it. Yeah, we should have people put their phone numbers up here on their names too. I don't know if there's enough room, but anyway, so I think you guys are doing really well. I like the focus. I hope you're enjoying Ignite. It's weird on Zoom and all of that, but take what you learn, internalize. What's tomorrow? Well, tomorrow's Saturday. Monday is delivering your value proposition. That's an interesting one. Everybody, go ahead.
That one's references what you talked about earlier, that elevator speech. That's your value proposition.
Yep. And if you have a unique one,
I think it was Andy.
That's, he could run with that. He needs to find somebody to help, I would suggest, oh, look at somebody's got a brand new baby. Oh, I'm distracted now. Class
Squirrel.
over. No. But yeah, find your thing. If you're equestrian, if you ride motorcycles, you do snowmobiles, whatever it is, that's your thing. Surround yourself with people that do kind of like the things that you do, and just be present at all times as much as you can. Be in the moment. Have your real estate hat on at all times, and out to dinner.
Be proud of it.
Be proud of it. Don't be a secret agent.
Yeah. There's no reason you need to fear other people thinking you're coming down the hall and they're trying to avoid you.
No.
If you're feeling that way, they're likely not feeling that way. That's all in your head.
Yeah.
And yes, are there people who think that way? Yes, but they're so few and far between. And guess what? I didn't want to talk to you anyways.
Yeah. And people want to talk about real estate. They really do. They don't want to talk about it all night, but sometimes they will. So, it's an important topic at this moment in time in the world. Okay, cool. All right. Love the baby. How old's the baby?
11 weeks. And his name is also Alexander.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Oh,
so
cute.
Well, good for you, Tony, for having an 11-week-old and attending Ignite.
Right?
Yeah, I can see her driving around, baby in the car seat, showing.
That's your accountability buddy.
Use that baby to strike up conversation.
Absolutely. Wear your badge on upside down and go, oh my God, I'm just frazzled. I didn't know it was upside down.
Well, that brings me to a point too. I was having a conversation with one of my coaching clients who has two younger kids. One's a little older than 11 weeks. And we were talking about, why don't you get a t-shirt that says, my mommy's a realtor? For the baby.
Oh, yeah, they do have those things at the Red store. Yeah. Those are cute.
Yeah, you won't even have to ask.
You
And
just
also
can't.
teach your kids. If you have kids, teach your kids. If somebody's talking about moving or something like that, teach them just to say, well, my mom or my dad is a realtor if you want to talk to them.
Yeah,
They can be little
use
lead
your
generators
children.
up there for you.
But yeah, I mean, you're in particularly once, little Alexander gets big, he's going to be at soccer and Little League and
Yep.
piano lessons or whatever. That's a real good timeline, So find your thing, do it, stay focused. I appreciate you all. I think you're all going to be awesome. I can tell by the energy that's coming back at me. Just take everything you do, make sure you take notes, and make sure you take action. Don't be just in here for infotainment or whatever that word is.
You got it.
Yeah. So let's put something into practice and report back in. I'll be doing another class. I don't know when.
When are we doing it? The
No, I
19th?
moved mine, Roger. I couldn't do the 18th. So I'm on the 23rd, negotiating the deal, my
Oh,
fave.
good for you.
I don't know who I'm on with. Hopefully somebody. All right, guys, we're going to let you go. Early release today, early lunch. So have a great day. Get out there, make it happen, and own it. Do it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys
have a good
day. Guys,
See ya.
bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roger. Always a pleasure to teach with you. He's gone. All right, see ya.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Happy Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Yippee.
See ya.